What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is all about Springbok Rugby and the Rugby World Cup and the big exodus that is going to happen after we reach the end of this year's Rugby World Cup. Now, the excitement is building, the atmosphere is electric, you can sense it when you do a video and when people comment. They're like, I can't wait for your predictions, your recaps, your previews for the Rugby World Cup. And just as excited you are makes me even more excited, because I can't wait. And trying to bring out Rugby World Cup content beforehand is very difficult, especially when we're months away. But there are things that are happening that are definitely coming to attention, because we're all thinking about what's happening before the World Cup, and obviously there's so much happening after the World Cup that we can't maybe forget or not quite aware of. And one thing that's brought to my attention is the exodus of Springbok rugby players that will be leaving South Africa to go play overseas. Now, I did a video about a month or two ago on the All Black rugby team and talking about their exodus that currently will happen also, and they are losing some star quality players. There are also players that are signed on to continue, but the question is, we lose so many players because the money is good overseas, and that's what brought up the whole type of videos that I did. Are players playing for pride or money? And in some situations it's the careers that are being chosen first, because you want to obviously think of your family, your future. Obviously there's a time in life after rugby that these guys want to build for, and the opportunities that they get overseas allows them to think about that future, maybe come back to South Africa with all that UK money, and then the exchange rate doubles it, and it's just crazy, ridiculous amounts that these guys get when they come back to South Africa. So you can understand why they do it, but it's a concern for the sport in this country, because we've got Super Rugby that's going on at the moment, and there's a lot of talk of people saying it's dying out, the crowds are getting bored, or there's not many crowds. I mean, for example, the Blue Bull Rugby Union reduced their tickets to 20 Rand a ticket, opposed to the normal price, due to Dwayne Vermeulen really standing out and saying, guys, you need to reduce the ticket prices so these guys come in and watch. And they had a great support, but it still was not a full stadium. Now, if we go back 4 years ago or so, in Super Rugby contests, especially with big games, we were seeing sellout crowds, and I can only recall really being Durban, where it's always been the shocking crowd. Normally Loftus and Newlands have been the heart of the crowds in rugby in South Africa, but it's reducing. And the question is, people are getting over the Super Rugby factor, and they're focusing on, or I don't know, fans are dropping off. They can rather watch it on the telly, or they can watch it on their phones and all that stuff, which is sad, because we've got a lot of quality talent within South African rugby, and we're seeing it produce, and watching the juniors come through, especially in provincial level, and really shine. And I always get excited saying there's a new guy playing for the Sharks, and I think he could be the next one. And a couple of years later, he's a Springbok, like Enquiries. I really identified him as a brilliant player. And look at him. Was also a star. Curwin Bosch had an outstanding game for the Sharks the other day. And so the talent grows and goes on. But then they are seen by the guys overseas and are headhunters to play there, be it in France, England. A lot of them are going to England. I'm going to go through the list now, but it's all these things that are coming into play. And the extra motivation now for these players is that Springboks Rugby, or SA Rugby Union, have now reduced the ban limit. So in the old days you had to have 30 caps or more in order to come back and play for the Springboks if you played overseas. Now that rule has been canned, and players can go play overseas and also play for the Springboks. No limitations, no blockage and all that stuff. So these guys are now almost encouraged more to go play rugby overseas, so that they can play Springbok rugby. So there's a good thing and a bad thing there. The good thing is we're not losing all our talent overseas, which we have done in the past, where we have seen great talent go overseas, and some are playing for France, England, Ireland and all that jazz. Now they have the opportunity to play for South Africa and still play overseas. The bad part of it is we're losing talent within South African rugby. So the Super Rugby franchises will either get weaker because the stars are going on, or it just allows more opportunity for more players to get developed into the system of rugby, which is a positive in itself as well. But there's a lot to worry about when we lose these players. And I mean, I'm going to go through a few names right now on who's leaving, and obviously there's a few that have just been announced, Quinny Oosthuizen being one of them. And it's actually hectic. So far, Ibn Etzebeth, I mean, he's a star quality. He's going to Toulon, France. E.W. Falun is going to Leicester Tigers. Dylan Lates, Wasps. Erkje Sneeman, Honda Heat in Japan. I mean, that guy to me is quality. We're going to see Ellie Sneeman leave, Hendra Starson, Dwayne Vermeulen, the big boy himself, he's going back overseas to Japan. Then Jacques Vermeulen is going to the Exeter Chiefs. And now this one breaks me because this is my team. Aka van der Merwe, the Dupree brothers, all three of them, all, as well as now Quinny Oosthuizen, are all going to the Sale Sharks. So the one shark in South Africa is losing their players to the blinking Sharks in the UK. I mean, we don't actually need a team in the Gallagher Premiership now, because technically the Sale Sharks is majority South African. So I'll claim that team as my team for South Africa, and also the Sharks. But it's heartbreaking, man. Lions Joe, Stefan Levies and Nick Groom are going overseas. Harlequins and Groom's going to Scotland. And then there are players who are yet to sign contracts, who have been approached. And here are big names. Malcolm Marks, Warren Whiteley. I mean, there's already talk of Whiteley getting injured so much he must go overseas and get his career there. There's a lot of talk of that. Alton Yankees, Peter Steph-Toy, Sia Khaleesi. I think Khaleesi has refused it, but he's been approached. Stephen Kitsoff, he's refused it, thankfully. Frans Malherber, Lot de Jager, Andre Pollard, the Beast, Cohen Bosch. So there's lots of players and quality that are being targeted within South Africa, and it's heartbreaking that we're going to lose this talent to overseas. I mean, Bosch is young. If they don't call him to the Springboks soon, he's definitely going overseas, and I won't be surprised seeing him play for the big boys over there. And that's the thing, we're losing talent. I mean, I know it from being in Port Elizabeth, the Eastern Cape, which is obviously the Southern Kings' home ground. We are seeing so much talent. I mean, honestly, if we had to build a team of the guys born in Port Elizabeth or the Eastern Cape and build a Southern Kings team around that, we would have an extremely strong team. Because the problem is these guys just get into the Kings level or Eastern Province, and then all of a sudden the Bulls, the Sharks, and all the other teams scout these guys to go over to their provinces. So we're losing quality players. I mean, Jacques Potgieter, he was one. There's so many greats who played within Eastern Province and now had to bugger off. And I mean, I know it's a problem everywhere, but it's just frustrating that losing quality players when they technically should be playing here. I'm all for, your dream is you go to school, you want to play school rugby, brilliant, you've achieved your ultimate dream. Then you want to go play for your varsity, cool, even better. Then you get the opportunity to play for your province, dream come true. I mean, then you think, oh, if we make the international squad, that is it. But man, I'm so happy to be provincial level. And then you get that ultimate dream. So you've gone through school, varsity, provincial, and then the big one being international. To me, that is the ultimate dream, opposed to going from school level to a little bit in the province and then scouted overseas. Again, that must be the new thing, the modern day era. Players go where the money is and they might play better. So yeah, it's a tough topic to talk about, and really sad that we're losing quality. But again, it's a sport. SA Rugby have allowed it, so you can't really blame these guys at all. So all you can do is wish them the best and hope to see them in the Springbok jersey, especially the top guys. I really don't want to see us lose quality players. I want to see more growth within Springbok Rugby, and I want to see this team go to the next level, because I really believe there's an opportunity for the Springboks to win this Rugby World Cup. I do believe that quite strongly. But We need to get the team, we need to get the coaching, we need to get everything gelled together. And with Rassie at the helm, with Sia Khaleesi, I mean, anything can happen, and I'm so excited to see what those two brilliant, talented coach and player can do. It's going to be an awesome journey, and I can't wait for the Rugby World Cup. It's going to be great. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new, and make sure you turn on the bell notification so you don't miss another video. So much more to come, so don't go anyway. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.